Let's look at how to add code into your lectures on Teachable. Code could be like SQL, Java, JavaScript, CSS, HTML, PHP. There are different coding languages that you can embed into Teachable, and that actually looks like a code. So it won't really look like a text, but it will look like a code syntax. So let's see how to do that. So let's say this is a course which is a developer training, and I want to add code to this. I go to curriculum, and then let's say I have a lecture called assignment, and this is where I want to add the code. So as you can note, there are other options available. You can add a file, text, quiz, and we want this add code because that is what we are doing. We want to give a code example to a student so that they can look at the code and learn from it. So click on add code example. Once you click on this, a screen like this will show up, and this is where you can add your code. So these are all the options available: CSS, Go, HTML, Java, JavaScript. So let's start with CSS first. So I've selected the code example as CSS, and now I'm going to paste a CSS code, and we'll see how it looks like on our lecture. So this is a CSS code, a sample code that I'm going to add. Once you add the code, click on add code example, and then let's click on preview. So this is how our code example will look like. As you can see, it's quite nicely formatted. If I were to add this as a text, let's see what would have happened. So I'll go to add text, and then I'll add the code example here, add text. Let's go back to our lecture and refresh. See, you can see that, right? It really doesn't look nice, especially for the code. Code needs to be properly formatted and needs to have a nice syntax. It doesn't really look good because it is a text. So that's why using this code example is nice feature. So let's try to add some more code to see how it looks like. I'm going to delete this text lecture. Okay, and click on add code example again. So when you click on that, it will show you the previous code, but that is okay. We can delete it and add the new code. This time we are going to add a Java code. So we'll select Java, and then we'll paste the Java code and say add code example. Go back to refresh the page. So you can see it's Java, and this is the code example. Let's try one more example by adding sequels. So again, you go to add code example, delete the previous one, select the SQL. MySQL is there, so we'll select MySQL. Adding the code example, add code example, and refresh the page. So now we have CSS, we have Java, we have MySQL. You can add these code example into multiple lectures, and this is a nice feature if you have a technical developer or programming related courses, because this gives your students a very good idea on what the code example is, and they can see it. Also, one more thing you can do is, in some of the cases, if you want your students to give an option to download the code, you can give the code as a file, attach it as a file, and so that they can download it. But again, this looks nice even in your lectures, because previously when this feature was not there, we used to embed code in our courses, and that actually was really not looking good. And also with these codes, sometimes happens is if they are not properly formatted, and when you copy paste between different applications, they tend to have some special characters which then make the code not work. So this is a nice feature, and how you can very easily add code to your Teachable lectures. Thank you.